Often when a TV show or a refreshing soda or a fast food brand gets big enough, someone will have the bright idea to promote said thing with a tie-in video game. License rights to the Outside Xbox brand are still available. FYI, very competitive rates. The only problem is that most of the time, unlike Outside Xbox, TV shows, sodas and fast food brands don't lend themselves super well to becoming fun video games. Not that anyone ever let that stop them, as we'll see in these 7 tie-in video games that were 100% not what we were expecting. Enjoy and beware spoilers ahead for the following games. I mean, just reskin noughts and crosses or something, it's right there.
Noughts and crosses?
Yeah, you know, tic-tac-toe, the O's and the X's like in the logo.
Right.
This stuff writes itself. Or, how about this? A dystopian future where noughts are illegal and the X's have to come to their aid, and it will be called O and X, a love story across time. What about that?
And this is going to get people to watch YouTube videos how?
I mean, obviously it will. It's a dramatic love story that spans generations, and one of them's a robot I didn't mention.
Beavis and Butthead was an often underappreciated 1990s MTV show about 2 teenage boys snickering and making sex jokes over other people's videos, predating the thousands of YouTube channels with the exact same premise by over a decade. When they weren't providing deceptively wise commentary on music videos, Beavis and Butthead would wander aimlessly around their hometown of Highland, getting into scrapes and causing chaos that they often seemed to barely notice or acknowledge.
This is gonna be cool.
All of which seems like it would be prime fodder for something like a point-and-click adventure game, which it was, in the case of 1995's surprisingly good tie-in point-and-click adventure, Beavis and Butthead Virtual Stupidity.
Ugh, it's full of books. What are they for, Butthead? For sucking, I think.
Making a lot less sense was the Beavis and Butthead game that came out 4 years after this, 1999's Bunghole in One, which looked at the snarky MTV animated comedy about slacker teens watching music videos and thought, yes, this will make the perfect golf game.
Say what? Well, you're pretty good at this game.
This game, which I'll remind you is called Bunghole in One, imagines a grand Beavis and Butthead mini-golf course with holes themed around their couch, the burger restaurant they work at, their local convenience store, and for some reason, a volcano made out of nachos.
Just a second, boys.
It also featured voice lines from the characters, or, well, I mean, line. Because seriously, you're going to be hearing the same thing over and over again.
Just a second, boys.
Of course, you won't mind when the writing's this good.
Your balls are filthy. Go to the ball washer.
I get it, if you've got the brief to create a promotional game based on Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're going to struggle. Even so, it's still a deeply strange response to that brief to decide to make a dating sim in which you have to make a beautiful Bishunan version of the firm's elderly Southern Colonel mascot fall in love with you. And yet here we are in the year of our Lord 2019, where that is a thing that exists and is available to download on Steam, right where everyone can see it. This is a man who, in real life, we'd like to point out, opened his first chicken restaurant in a gas station in the same year he got into a shootout with the owner of a rival gas station in which a man died. Sanders was 40 years old at the time. Here though, Sanders is a hot young chef who longs to open a chain of restaurants, and if you play your cards right, he will also long to hold you in his strong chicken-scented arms and tell you everything is going to be okay, and maybe even what the 11 secret herbs and spices are. As if there's 11 different herbs and spices.
Salt.
Anyway, there's
Pepper.
salt, pepper, 5 spice.
That's 7.
That's 7, that's it. That's all.
Sporty.
They're making it up.
Posh. Ginger.
Also, your teacher is a dog and your best friend falls in love with a pressure cooker. I don't know how I feel right now, but it's definitely not hungry.
a more traditional take on a fast food video game, we look to 1993's McDonald's Treasureland Adventure for the Sega Genesis, which is less a video game about the deliciousness of McDonald's hamburgers and more the kind of succession of images you'd see as you drift in and out of consciousness in a serial killer's lair. In this game, nightmare clown Ronald McDonald has to get 3 pieces of a treasure map from villains who have stolen them. These villains are, in order, a giant sentient tomato, a goblin piloting a clown robot, and a pirate with lips for a head. When he's not battering surrealist manifestations of mankind's deepest fears, this beef-peddling Pennywise is running, jumping, and hoisting himself around the place with his scarf in a game that incredibly doesn't once actually mention hamburgers. At least the Colonel Sanders game wouldn't shut up about chicken. Believe me, McDonald's, the clown aspect of your business is not the part you want to be focusing on.
Hurry! I'm X to the Z exhibit. I'm here to pimp your ride.
Ha ha! Yes! Yes! Yeah! Woo! Ha ha!
Pimp My Ride was a popular MTV show in which exuberant car enthusiast and rapper Exhibit would meet people with old, rundown cars and then make fun of them for it.
So, it looked like somebody came and ransacked your ransacker.
It's been through the ringer, X.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times at least.
Exhibit is nothing if not merciful, however, and in his benevolence would then take that person's rubbish old car and fill it with so many speakers, chrome accessories, and PlayStations that it barely functioned as a road vehicle. Or I guess, a PlayStation. Like in the show, your goal in Pimp My Ride the video game is to upgrade people's cars so they no longer qualify as road legal. Unlike the show, however, you have no budget to do this, and so have to earn money by doing combinations of 3 different car-based events. The first of these is called Cruising and involves you driving your car slowly past people while they enjoy your car, I guess. The second is what's known as Ghost Riding the Whip and involves you allowing your car, or whip, to creep along on tickover. Then you get out and dance alongside it while it moves forward on its own, like it's being driven by a ghost. And the third event is Hot Stepping, which is just a slightly more energetic version of Ghost Riding the Whip, involving more cartwheels. Once you've got your money, you can then drive around town picking up items for the pimping you're about to perpetrate. You then go head-to-head with a rival pimping crew to see which ride your hateful teen client prefers, which means you're going to have to endure listening to 1,000 variations on people saying, "That's cool."
Now, I know you're a model, Marcia, and I know you just love getting on a runway. So check this out. We'll hit you up with your own automated runway with its own lighting and sound system.
Oh my god, this is so dope. Thank you so much.
Man, Ice-T was right. Pimping really ain't easy.
Lord, somebody kneeled in the wrong place and prayed to the wrong god.
Can you do that water in the wine trick? No, wait. Water in the beer, or I'll kill you!
The Simpsons, from the long-running animated show of the same name, may not be the perfect family, but they do love each other and want what's best for one another. That's why it is somewhat jarring to load up The Simpsons Wrestling on the PS1 and see Homer beating Marge unconscious and then throwing bowling balls at her prone body.
1, 2, 3. I'm so good I could kiss myself.
There have been Simpsons beat-em-ups before, most notably the 1991 arcade side-scroller, but that game pitched the family as a team, fighting against hordes of evil enemies. That's probably because the developers of that game realised that watching grizzled bartender Moe battering Bart was going to be a hard sell.
Oh boy, that is going to hurt in the morning.
1, 2, 3.
Or God-fearing neighbour Flanders going ham on small child Lisa. Still better than season 30, I guess.
Pepsi Man was a Japan-only Pepsi promotional game from 1999 featuring Pepsi Man, a former Pepsi mascot who was dropped after 12 commercials because horror. Still, that wasn't before Pepsi Man got the chance to star in this game, in which he would help out regular members of the public who would explain their Pepsi emergencies to the pitiless gaze of his featureless silver mask.
I got a call that a vending machine ahead ran out of Pepsi, and I was just on my way there when I got a flat tire. There are a bunch of people gathered in front of the vending machine. They want Pepsi!
Pepsi Man's superpower, it seems, is constantly having to run forwards in a straight line, which seems more like a curse if you ask us, but then we don't work in Pepsi's marketing department, so what do we know? It definitely made navigating through the game's various streets and neighborhoods more difficult, as Pepsi Man was constantly having to dodge holes, construction workers, and cars. And his inability to stop running meant that he would also occasionally smash his way into people's homes. Pepsi Man also seems to have a complicated relationship with his parent company, considering how many of their products are trying to kill him at all times. Honestly, Pepsi Man, might be time to consider a different line of work. Still, if you stuck with it and managed to finish Pepsi Man, you'd be rewarded with the game's ending, a video of a man going to the bathroom because he drank too much Pepsi.
Excuse me.
Maybe don't finish Pepsi Man. Or start Pepsi Man.
Coming back out the cracks of sofas and fanny packs. This ain't a candy rap, this is where the candy attacks. See, when they're lost, that's when their sanity snaps. They break laws, not jaw breakers, but break jaws.
Sour Patch Kids are a kind of sour, gummy candy that you might think wouldn't lend itself well to a video game adaptation. But that's why you don't work in the marketing department for Sour Patch Kids, because a Sour Patch Kids video game is totally a thing that happened in 2012. It's also a lot more existentially terrifying than you were perhaps expecting, on account of its story, which concerns sentient Sour Patch Kids whose one dream in life is to be eaten by human beings. Sour Patch Kids who don't get eaten by humans go insane, we're told by the game's extremely strange intro. Therefore, you as the green Sour Patch Kid have to go on an adventure to save your friend the red Sour Patch Kid, along with other abandoned Sour Patch Kids from going sour. Going sour is a term the game uses to describe these evil gummies, despite the fact that being sour is sort of the whole point of Sour Patch Kids. It's possible I'm thinking too much about this, but I'm certain they didn't think enough about this. Anyway, the opening level of World Gone Sour, which starts with you holding a button to live and continues with you jumping around a movie theatre trash can, touching endless piles of garbage, doesn't super put me in the mood for a big bag of Sour Patch Kids brand candy, but that might just be me. But at least someone's still hungry, as when you beat the final boss, both you and the red Sour Patch Kid get eaten by, quote, a random hobo, and the game ends.
And look, a random hobo has conveniently showed up to eat you both. You're heading to Candy Heaven.
The Bubba Belly! Bubba Belly! Welcome to the belly!
Say what you like though, this is a solid jam.
It's Candy Heaven popping 24/7. You in the belly. Huh. Old friends, old pals, all hugs, no thugs. You got a friend in a carrot. He's got your back. This digestive tract ain't got no whack.
What the hell was that? What's that got to do with Sour Patch Kids?
It's a banger!
I'm confused. Anyway, if you want to watch more videos like this, and why wouldn't you, after that song, then why not check out this video here from us, which is about games that were secretly other games in disguise, or down here, there's a video from Outside Extra, which is about actually good music from video games that we all loved. So why not check that out? Stop making excuses for the Sour Patch Kids song.